Hello students, today we will discuss the syllabus of first paper of FY BSc Computer Science. The paper name is Problem Solving Using Computer and C Programming 1. Before discussing syllabus, let us have a look at the structure given by university. Total credits given for first semester are 22. For computer science, there are two subjects. First subject CS 111 is Problem Solving Using Computers and C Programming, and second subject CS 112 is Database Management Systems. For both these subjects, 2 credits are given for theory. There is a practical based on these 2 subjects and it is having the credit 1.5. For all these 3 papers, continuous assessment is of 15 marks and university exam will be of 35 marks. So, each paper is of total 50 marks. Now, we will see what the course objectives are. First objective of this course is to know the fundamentals of computing, programming, and problem solving using computers. Second objective is to develop the ability of the student to solve the problems and try to find out a process to solve the problems. Third objective is to design algorithms, pseudocodes, and flowchart for arithmetic and logical problems. Next is to know the structured approach of programming language. Fifth objective is to grow the basic concept and terminology of programming languages. Next objective is to construct an algorithm in C language, and the last objective of this course is to construct and execute the programs. So these are the objectives of our course. On completion of this course, student will be able to develop the interest to find out steps to solve different types of problems. He will be able to design simple programs and the programs by using control structures. He can use functions in his programs. He can use arrays also to solve the problems. So these are course outcome. If we have any idea in our mind and we want to implement it by using computers, then we have to use programming languages. Here we are going to learn C programming language. The first chapter of our course is Problem Solving Aspects. It consists of how to understand a problem, how to find out steps to solve that problem by using computers. Next, in the same chapter, we will see what is an algorithm. An algorithm is the step-by-step procedure for solving the problem. Humans are having the capability that if a problem is given, we can find out a step-by-step solution for it. But for writing programs by using computer, we have to write down step-by-step procedure which is called as an algorithm. So, we will discuss how to construct an algorithm, how to convert algorithm into flowcharts by using flowchart notations. We will solve some examples and then we will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of algorithms and flowcharts. After that, we will see what a pseudocode is. Flowchart can be converted into a pseudocode. Pseudocode is formal than flowchart, but it is informal than the program. So, pseudocode is in between flowchart and a program. In the next topic, we will see how programming languages can be used as a tool to solve a problem and what are the types of languages. We will see how the pseudocode can be converted into program instructions. After that, there will be compilation process in which we will see the complete process from program construction to program execution. The last topic in this chapter will be naming conventions, documentation and indentation. So what will be the name given to the program file, or how to document that program, and how to use indentations or spaces or tabs in our program. Second chapter of this course is C Fundamentals. This chapter contains all the basic concepts of C programming language. Here we will cover history of C language, application areas for C language, structure of a program. After that, there will be introduction to functions, and we will see how functions can be a basic building block of a program. If a problem is complex one, then we can divide it into number of parts, and then one part or one activity is called as a function. Next will be C tokens. Next will be C tokens. That are different types of words which we can use in our program. For example, character set, identifier, keywords, variables, etc. So these are different types of words which we can use in our program. Then we will be discussing data types in C. Basic data types and user defined data types are there. This is the type of data we can use in our program. After that, we will see what is meant by operator, its types, their precedence and order of evaluation. Next is the character input output function and string input output functions. If we want to input a character, then which function we can use, and if we want to output a character, then which function we can use. Similarly, for strings input and output, the functions will be discussed. In this chapter, at last, we will see what is the formatted input and output functions. Next chapter is control structures. Every program gets executed sequentially, but sometimes we want to change the sequence of execution of a program, then we have to use control structures. In decision making structures, we will see if else, switch and conditional operator. After that, there will be a loop control structure in which we will see while, do while and for. Then we will discuss use of break and continue statement, nested structure and unconditional branching. Fourth chapter of our course is functions. In this, we will discuss the concept of function and how function helps modular design of a program. Now, what is meant by modular design? Whenever we are splitting any complex problem into a smaller parts, then every part can be called as a module. So, function supports modular design of a program. Next, we will see what is meant by standard library functions and user-defined functions. Here, standard library functions are coming with compilers. They are pre-written, pre-compiled. Opposite to this, user-defined functions are written by programmer as per the requirement. We will see how to declare, define and call these functions. Next, we will see what is meant by parameter, the ways of passing the parameters with functions and return statements. After this, there will be the concept of recursive function. Whenever the function calls itself, then it is called as a recursive function. At last, in this chapter, we will be discussing storage classes and scope variables. Last chapter of our course is arrays. When we have less number of variables in our program, we can declare them separately. But for the number of values, we should use some structure. But for the number of values, we should use some structure which can store all the required values. Array is a collection of similar type of values. It can store multiple values which are of the same type. In this, we will define the array, its types, and the memory representation. Array can be one-dimensional, two-dimensional, or multi-dimensional. Depending on the use, we can use different types of arrays. We will see its syntax as well as its use with examples. Afterwards, we will see how arrays can be passed to a function as a parameter. Last topic in this chapter will be applications of arrays. Here we will discuss how to find out minimum and maximum from an array, counting the occurrences, then searching, sorting using arrays, merging two arrays, and some matrix operations. So, with this chapter, we are completing the syllabus of our course. Thank you so much, and now enjoy the learning experience. Thank you once again.